Ladies and gentlemen, welcome aboard. We are back here in Van Dixhoorn Arena, and we're a little bit excited tonight, as is everybody out here, because it is postseason time, the CCAC quarterfinal match between the TIU Trojans and the University of St. Francis Fighting Saints. This is Ethan Oskroba. I'll be with you all night long alongside Seth Rieske. Seth, this is going to be a good one tonight. What are the things you're looking for the Trojans to do to take this victory in the CCAC playoffs?
Well, Ethan, this is a huge rivalry for both these teams. Both these teams have gone at it for so long. St. Francis was able to get a win on the Trojans this year. And this is just a game where they need to play clean volleyball, just need to execute their game. Right there, we see a great example of them just doing their stuff well. If Trinity has been phenomenal. They've gone on these losing streaks that have really hurt them. But if they play their game, if they play clean, consistent volleyball, they have an easy way to victory.
Yep, Nadia Wheeler getting it done for the Trojans to give them the early lead. These Trojans 24-8 on the season as this one drifts out from their team leader in aces, Lana Vujosevic. She had 46 on the regular year. But the Trojans 22-8, 13-4 in the CCAC. That got them the 4th seed and an opportunity to host this postseason match against University of St. Francis, which is 19-17 and 10-6 in conference. Here goes Vujosevic firing from deep, and this one coming up a little bit short.
One thing to watch out for is in these playoff games is the nerves of these players. Will they be able to control those nerves and collect themselves earlier and sooner rather than later?
Yep, and these Trojans have been here before. A lot of their veterans. This is not their first rodeo. Here comes Torres. Brianna Torres, the team's leading killer, looking for her first, but she's turned away. Here's Vujosevic, now Skripchak setting up Teresa Romero out in front. Nice dig with the palms up by Hannah Pacheco. And now this one drifting out, and the Trojans have evened things up.
The St. Francis hitter couldn't quite get around, hits the antenna on that one. We'll send it to Jalen Freeman, who will serve for the Trojans. Talk about a solid server, Ethan. She has been great all year long.
Absolutely. This Trojan service rotation is so dangerous. And this is before we've even seen players like Skripchak and Torres get an opportunity, though this one is pinpointed on the back line, and St. Francis has the early advantage.
That's a great job there by Desiree Anderson, hitting it right on that back line. That's a hard ball to get if you're the Trojans.
Anderson, the team's leading killer. She racked up 333 on the year to lead the way. This one is battered down. Back to the Trojans, now shoveled down out in front. Great individual effort by Leah Talley to try to keep it alive, but the Trojans eventually finish it off, and we're tied up at 3.
Great job once again there by Torres, setting that up initially, and the Trojans following up.
Well, one of these many dangerous Trojan servers is back to serve now. Emma Gallegos, a great service specialist for TIU. St. Francis there for the moment. And this one with some loft, well placed by Anderson, as she will add to her team leading total and give St. Francis the slight advantage.
Can't do much better than that. That slight tip just over the blockers' heads and hands. And Emma Gallegos is there, but just not able to get under it.
Absolutely pinpointed. And now it'll be up to Kaylee Sipple. Puts it over the middle. Vujosevic stepping in. Now here's Madison Williams drifting as she blasts it away through the blocks. And we're knotted up once more.
That slide combo from Skripchak out to Williams has been effective all year round. And right there we see why. It's just so quick, so hard to get, and it's so hard for the blockers to get down for that ball.
They are in sync all the time. And the way that Williams, as Torres hits this one into the net on her first attempt in service, but that Skripchak to Williams combo is so dangerous, and it's unbelievable how in sync they are, where there will be times when Skripchak hasn't even touched it and Madison Williams is already in the air knowing the ball is going to be there. Here's Anderson. She steps into it, and it's right on the line. That one beautifully placed from Desiree Anderson. So St. Francis taking the fight to the Trojans early on Trinity's home turf. Anderson lofts it over again. Vujosevic has it. Here's Skripchak setting up Torres. Torres palms it forward. Now this one shoveled in there and perfectly placed. Taylor Connolly stepping in to finish it off for St. Francis.
Trojans will have to adjust against that tip as this game goes on because they cannot keep getting beat by that.
Absolutely. The Fighting Saints off to a nice start here. Here's Vujocevic, sidewinding dig by Lana. Now here is Madison Williams blasting away up into the rafters. And that was like a game of Plinko in the ceiling. Leah Talley was able to get a piece of it, but not enough. Or rather, Hannah Monfrey, correction there, the libero. So 7-5 now, St. Francis with the slight advantage as Desiree Passono checks in to serve. Another one of these great Trojan service specialists. Now this one battered out on in front. What a dig by Torres. Here comes Vujocevic, and she fans on that one. So the exceptional dig by Torres, all for naught.
It's a tough hit to make there from Vujocevic. Just really tough to, as that ball is coming from behind, do a lot of spin. It was a good effort by her, but just not enough for the Trojans.
This one hit over there by Monfrey. Here comes Vujocevic, a shot at redemption. Good work by Monfrey, and somehow the Fighting Saints keep it up, but it drifts wide. So the solid hit from Vujocevic not immediately resulting in a kill, but the ripple effect results in the score for TIU. Anna Skripchak, we'll see if she goes with that lob or if she goes with the hardline drive. Multiple serves she can go to. She hits this one hard. Monfrey has it. Oliveira will just have to dump it on down. Torres, Skripchak, Vujocevic blasting away. Palmed over. Here comes Vujocevic. She'll have another crack at it. Good dig with the palms up as it does work its way back over. Out in front
Great
now.
job.
Back to the Trojans. Still we play on. Vujocevic shoveling it forward, and Trinity outlasts the Fighting Saints, and it's a 1-point game right now.
Lana Vujocevic playing phenomenal volleyball there, managing to hit it, managing to tip it. Consistency was the key there for the Trojans, and they were able to pull that one off.
The resilient Vujocevic eventually getting it done, and now this one is dropped right on the sideline by Anna Skripchak.
Skripchak pulling out her line drive on that one, and that was a really difficult serve to return, even if it was in.
All knotted up at 8 here. Now she'll go with the lob. Some trouble to handle it, but they will eventually get it back over. Here's Wheeler queuing it up. On her heels was Anderson. Now here's Oliveira. Torres has that. Quick hitter out in front. Fended off by the Fighting Saints. Long range. Torres has it again, absorbing the power out of that one. And now blasted down by Vujocevic and on the back line. My goodness, what a strike from Lana Vujocevic, and the Trojans have the lead.
You know, I was just about to praise St. Francis' defense because they were doing a phenomenal job getting all around the court. But Lana Vujocevic is on fire for the Trojans right now.
I don't care what kind of defense you have, you're not getting that one. A brilliant strike. Now here's Oliveira, and Vujocevic got a hand to it, but was unable to quite corral it.
Oliveira just doing a great job there. That's a hard cross shot to do across the court, and she beautifully places it in a spot that's hard to reach, and she'll end up earning the point for her team.
Now here is Hannah Pacheco, second on the team in assists. One of their primary setters, Vujocevic, blasting it into the wall. It's worked over. Here comes Oliveira, and she puts that one right down in the corner. St. Francis pulls back in front. So a seesaw affair in this first set of play. Both these sides playing some impressive volleyball here early. Jalen Freeman quickly in sync to Teresa Romero, the talented freshman, has recorded many a kill for the Trojans, but not there.
Trojans just some little miscommunication there on defense on who was covering that spot, something that will get cleaned out as that. Great serve there. And St. Francis pulls ahead with that 3-point lead, Ethan. So far, the Trojans, we've seen a lot of great from them, but just a few mistakes have cost them big.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's happened at times for this team. They usually find a way to work themselves back into rhythm. We'll see if they can do so now. Here is Oliveira with some touch on it, diving for it, Nadia Wheeler, but unable to quite make it, and St. Francis has their biggest lead of the opening set. It's 13-9, and timeout called by Coach Ward. So not the start the Trojans were looking for. What do you think they got to do to bounce back out of the timeout?
Honestly, just communication, Ethan. It's been a lot of great play from both these teams, and the Trojans have played some good volleyball. There's just a few of these plays, these tips over the middle, these miscommunications on who's covering, and if they just get those cleaned out, they're playing well on the offensive side, so they just need to clean up these defensive plays, and they will be set to go.
Yep, this Trojan team certainly does not lack for confidence. I tell you, I was coming in here to get in a quick lift late last night, and I see just toilet paper strewn all around Van Dixhorn Arena, hanging from the rafters all over the place, and a bunch of the players on the team are here. And as I was walking out, they've got this little sign up on the door. It says, hey, it's playoffs. Let's everybody play their role tonight. So this is a team that is loose. They're going to have fun, and we'll just see if they can make a couple adjustments and get things done tonight.
They are indeed. Ethan, you mentioned the traditions that these players have. One of my favorite traditions that they have is they go into Coach Ward's office and they wrap up every single thing, from his pencils to everything on his desk. And it's just a long process for him to unwrap it. But hey, when you get to the playoffs in volleyball at the collegiate level, why not celebrate?
I'll unwrap whatever you want if you go 24-8 for me. This one's over the middle. Freeman's got it. Here is Skripchak, and now Vujosevic with some touch, but nicely backing it up is Peyton Baird. Here's Oliviera. They continue to feed her. Skripchak now setting up Wheeler. A little bit of miscommunication, not a particularly potent attack, and it's shoved on down now by Stephanie Woods out in front. Stephanie Woods, a great net front presence. She leads the team with 108 blocks, and showing some of her offensive prowess there as well. Here's Skripchak flipping it cross court to Wheeler, and 2 touches on Woods here, so a miscue this time, and the Trojans taking advantage to finally get service back.
Wheeler doing a good job there of putting it just high enough where Woods had to double touch that to even keep it alive.
Here's Vujosevic, full circle to the Trojans' top server. Lana rises and fires. Dug by Anderson with the palms up. Now here's Oliviera, and she overcooked that one. So the Trojans are starting to rally. They only trail by 3. Vujosevic set to go once more. Great vibes here in Van Dixhorn Arena tonight. Playoff atmosphere. This one's just going to have to be lofted over by the libero Monfrey. Here's Brianna Torres. Great hands by Freeman to keep it alive. Torres once more finding the dead zone. Brilliant work by Brianna Torres.
What a spot there by Brianna Torres. Doesn't get the hit originally. Manages to pull off a little bit there and finds a great gap right in between every single defender. No one saw it coming.
And there's the resilience of the 5th-year vet, 3-time CCAC first team, and well on our way to that again this year. The resilience to find a way to finish that, and now this one slammed into the net by Stephanie Woods. So TIU is right back in this thing. They only trail by 1.
That's back-to-back mistakes by Stephanie Wood, and one of these things that becomes really difficult in some of these games is keeping your mentality positive, shaking off those mistakes and moving forward.
It is such a fast-moving sport, and if they know somebody's not 100% in it, they can just keep going right at her. And now this one taking a fortunate carom as Teresa Romero, one of the top net front presences for the Trojans, was unable to quite handle it. So St. Francis restoring order a little bit. Here's Leah Talley, the freshman defensive specialist, and that one's just beyond the line. So minimizing mistakes has really been a theme just in this sport all year long, every game you watch. And the Trojans taking advantage of a miscue right there. Here is Freeman. Freeman blasts it away. Anderson with another hands-up dig. Here's Woods. Skripchak has got it. Freeman to Vujosevic from long range. Through the block and into the dead zone. We are tied.
Great job there by the Trojans. Good set there from Jalen Freeman. A great bump set right to Vujosevic, who finishes that one off.
Well, TIU's got all the momentum. They've been on fire since the timeout. We'll see if they can keep rolling. Now this one tapped down in front by Brianna Torres as it drifted over to the Trojan side. TIU has the lead. The tables have turned. Timeout, Fighting Saints.
Trojans managed to claw their way back. It's down by 4 at one point in this game, but no more. The Trojans are now winning by a 1 point, 16-15, off some great hitting from Torres and Vujosevic and the rest of this team, and they played some great defense, making up for those mistakes that we saw earlier. And so far, they're playing fantastic volleyball.
Yep, such a great atmosphere out here tonight for this particular match as well. A true postseason atmosphere, as you've got all kinds of students and athletic teams. You got some of the baseball team, the softball team right in front of us. Basketball, all the teams are representing this team right now. You've got all sorts of students from all over campus, and you've got good representation in terms of parents and other fans who traveled out here to make it for both sides. Joliet just an hour away, so a lot of St. Francis supporters coming out here as well. It's always great vibes here in Van Dixhoorn, but it is really on another level tonight.
Vibing in Van Dixhoorn.
This one shoveled over now. Good work by Skripchak. Torres will fire away from deep, and she finds the vacated floorboards. Trinity by 2.
Ladies and gentlemen, you are watching an expert at her sport in the making. Notice how she repositioned her body. She hesitated on that ball, got set so that she could fully unwind, and it pays off.
Absolutely, she can really do it all. Such a key player for these Trojans. This one into the block, diving effort by Freeman. But the partial block is unable to ward off that attack. And Trinity is out in front, still by 1. Here is Stephanie Woods now to serve. Vujosevic has the low line drive. Now it's just pitched up and over by Torres, but handled. Not a very potent attack back. Here's Skripchak for Torres, shoving it forward. Good work by Pacheco. Now Vujosevic has it. Scrappy volleyball going on here as Wheeler slices it across and just wide.
That was a rally of both teams not being able to quite get their footing. Just a lot of scrappy play, which there's going to happen in a playoff volleyball game with two teams of this high caliber.
Vujosevic has the dig. Here is Skripchak for Wheeler. She winds up and fires, but it's handled for the moment. Woods will just have to dump it on down. Here's Freeman. Skripchak. Williams! And boy, Madison Williams absolutely clobbering that one down in a pivotal moment. The Trojans take the lead.
Madison Williams picks up her 4th kill of this set so far, and that one was just uncovered. If there was no one up for the block, she had all the space in the world to hit that, and she capitalizes.
Emma Gallegos, laser beam over the net. Now here comes Anderson, and that one is right on the back line, or rather, I believe they're going to say it was deflected there, as it looked like it came a little bit too far, but somebody got a hand on it out in front.
Great job there by the line judge to recognize that. We're so appreciative of high-level quality individuals in these judging positions in the playoffs.
Absolutely. Here is Torres queuing up a major shot out in front, but St. Francis defending it. Sharp angle shot for Anderson. Skripchak scurrying over to set up Torres, but Torres is turned aside. Now lunging dig for Freeman. Skripchak getting tricky with it. Some confusion and a clever play. What a clever bit of work from Anna Skripchak.
Anna Skripchak's set over the net is one of the best that I've seen at the NIA level. She's so smart in when to use it and when not to use it. And when she uses it, it's such a dangerous tool that they can utilize so well.
Absolutely. So good it got the fan coming out alongside the commentator in you tonight, Seth. Now here is Anderson. Great dig by Freeman. Torres for Vujosevic. Now this one queued up on the outside and pinpointed there by Taylor Connolly. That one was really well placed, and so St. Francis, give them credit. A nice response, and we're even at 19.
This is going to be a close one in all the sets right here. Both these teams locked in at 19 apiece, each one of them wanting to take home this first set.
Here is Skripchak shoveling it forward for Williams as she slides to the corner, but not sure if that one never cleared the net or if it was blocked down, but St. Francis scoring regardless. The intensity really ratcheting up here. This first set meaning so much. Here's Anderson, and she comes up short. Tried to get clever with it, but it does not clear the twine, and we're even at 20. Here is Desiree Passono, one of the many service specialists for the Trojans. We'll see what she can do in her area of expertise. Lobs it down the middle. Now this one quickly set up out in front, rejected by the Trojan wall. Can St. Francis find a way to get it over? They cannot. Oliviera had a last crack at it, but it was a desperation effort, and the Trojans have the lead. Boy, it has been back and forth all set long. Great work from both of these teams. Here's Passono. Over the middle, dig by Monfrey. Here's Oliviera. Torres falling away, handles it. Now this one's shoveled down in front. Oliviera will have another attack. Passono steps in for the dig. Here comes Vujocevic, gets it over the block, and gets it down.
What a play! Lana Vujocevic with a beautiful release. Such a fast arm swing, no one was ready for it. She had that ball hit over the net before the defender was even ready for the second effort.
What a great play by Lana. She has been terrific, and she has really stepped up later in the year and is a terrific complementary option alongside Brianna Torres.
Lana Vujocevic is a player who has had a long story here at Trinity. She's only here in her second year, but last year was pretty much only in that back row position, was dealing with a back injury most of last year. She was able to persevere through that and has become one of Trinity's best hitters in that outside position, complementing Brianna Torres so well.
Yep, she has reinvented her game and truly become a superstar for these TIU Trojans. Trinity out in front by 2. Passono will continue what's already a successful service run. Over the middle, lunging effort just to get there by Anderson. Here's Oliviera, and it was deflected, and just enough of a deflection to reach the floorboards there.
That one definitely took a weird bounce, not in the Trojan favor.
It'll be the libero Hannah Monfrey, the Wisconsin native and senior. Miscommunication from the Trojans, but stepping in, Gallegos to save the day. Here's Stephanie Woods punching it down, and Torres unable to handle it. That would have been a spectacular play by Brianna, but she couldn't quite make it. So the timeout paying off so far. St. Francis is even the reckoning at 22. And now this one sliced wide. A couple of service errors from these Fighting Saints really changing the proceedings here.
That is a costly serve for St. Francis. That is something you can't do, tied up 22 apiece. That will come back to haunt her if the Trojans come away with this win.
Here's Skripchak up the gut. Set up for Woods, drifting away. Skripchak got a hand to it, but couldn't corral it. We're even at 23. It is back and forth, a couple of great teams at work. Couple of veteran coaches, Kara Courier and her over 20 seasons with them. As this one drifts wide, so the Trojans will score it.
Ethan, that's their third service error in a row.
Really making things difficult here for themselves, and the Trojans have got set point. Can they take advantage and finish things off? A bunch of the fans on their feet here in Van Dixhoorn Arena. Here comes Oliviera. It's blocked out in front. Anderson with the quick hands. Oliviera again, and it's down, and we're tied up. St. Francis showing off some resilience as we are knotted up at 24. Now we'll see if they can just get something over the net here.
Oliviera is such a tough player to block for the Trojans. If they give her more opportunities like that, it's going to be hard to stop her.
Freeman handles this one. Strip shot. Torres blasting away just wide. And it was not touched on its way over. Now set point for St. Francis. Timeout Trinity after a rare miscue from the all-world talent Brianna Torres.
Torres just did not get contact on the ball like she wanted on that. Just got to hit the ball a little too off center onto that side, which made that one fly out.
Yeah, every play, every little mistake magnified in the postseason, and especially with this opening set on the edge of a knife. It is terrific action right now. This has been a riveting first set of the contest.
No matter which team you're rooting for in this game, you are right, Ethan. You could not have asked for a better first set of one of the opening matches of the NCCAA playoffs.
Absolutely terrific energy from both these squads, from both these rival fan bases. We've seen these two tangle earlier this season. Can the Trojans fend off? Set point. Leah Talley, the crowd in full throat. Here's Skripchak setting up Torres, blasted away, and it's down!
Let's go!
Torres finding a way from the jaws of defeat. The Trojans have knotted up again. Again, the resiliency from Brianna Torres. She makes a mistake. She comes right back and rights the wrong for TIU. Here goes Freeman with the lob. Anderson able to handle it. St. Francis on their heels here. That one drifting too far. The Trojans have the lead once again.
Jalen Freeman with an incredible serve puts St. Francis on their back foot, and they're not able to get back in it on that one.
Now can the Trojans claim the opening set? Here goes Freeman. Kneeling dig by Monfrey. Having it go Anderson, and it will make it to the floor. We are tied up at 26.
Both these teams playing their hearts out. Neither team wanting to lose this. Every team giving everything they got, knowing their season is on the line.
Here comes Stephanie Woods, and this one is a little bit too far. In fact, significantly too far. Another error as St. Francis is letting the Trojans stay in this one.
In basketball, that's known as an air ball. And volleyball, that's known as an overserve.
Well, whatever it is, it's a point for the Trojans in their third set point. Here comes Gallegos. Handled by Anderson. Back to Anderson, rips it too far, and the Trojans win set one.
Let's go!
Oh my goodness.
What a first set!
That was outstanding. Both teams showing what they can do, but the Trojans eventually just showing their resilience, their grit and toughness that has characterized their season, and set one belongs to Trinity.
Wow, Ethan. What a first set that the Trojans are able to come away victorious with. If that's anything, if that is a preview of what we're going to see tonight, I am excited for another few more sets. St. Francis, though, the story, I think, of that game and towards the end was their misserves. That was 4 service errors in the last 7 points.
Absolutely. We've seen it, and especially in the postseason, you cannot make mistakes like that if you expect to beat a team like Trinity. St. Francis already coming in as a slight underdog tonight, so they could not afford all those misplays late.
On the bright side, if you're St. Francis coming into this first set, you beat yourselves, which is a great feeling to have instead of just getting beat by the other team, because when you beat yourselves, yes, it hurts your mental, but it really allows you to clean up those mistakes and really capitalize and move forward with them.
Yes, they absolutely hung with the Trojans here, could have won this first set, and they beat the Trojans earlier this season. So Trinity cannot overlook this squad. This St. Francis team, despite losing, they still feel good about themselves, and they still know that they have what it takes to mount a comeback.
Definitely. For the Trojans, as we go into this next set, one thing I would love to see is across the board for the Trojans, there were not a single block. Blocking was not something that the Trojans were able to do really effectively. Yes, they were able to get up, but one of the keys with blocking is to get your hands angled in such a way that you're hitting it right back down on the court. Teresa Romero popped off for 10 blocks the other night in one of her games. Would love to see her step up as the freshman. Would love to see Madison Williams, Nadia Wheeler, and the rest of this Trojan front line, this attacking offense, really step up and get some blocks in the second set.
Absolutely. There were definitely some mistakes, but you also have to give credit to St. Francis. They did a really nice job just managing to lob it over that Trinity front line. So we'll see how that game of cat and mouse continues to evolve and what adjustments the coaches make going into the second set. Lots to break down, no doubt, for both of these coaches. Coach Luke Ward has had a very successful tenure as a Trojan in his 8th season here, but even his experience does not rival that of the St. Francis coach, Cara Courier. She's in her 21st year at the helm of this program. Absolutely remarkable stuff from her. These are two veteran coaches. They know what they're doing. They've been to the postseason before, and they know how to have their players ready and what adjustments to make.
It's going to be a fun one. Volleyball is a game of momentum. So we'll see what the Trojans can do using this momentum that they built for themselves in that first set.
Absolutely, and it is almost that time. The horn has sounded. The Trojans are making their way out right now. Looks like it's going to be most of the starters for both squads. Out there for the Trojans, you've got Wheeler, Romero, Vujocevic, Skripchak, Torres, and Williams, who will likely check out, as she often does for Jalen Freeman. And it's mainly the starters out there for the Fighting Saints, but they do have Leah Talley in as well, and looks like she will get things going in the service effort for St. Francis. So that set one was as exciting as some matches that we've seen. But you know what the great news is? We've got much more on the way. Set number 2 is just about to get going as Talley will start us off. She bombs it over the middle. Freeman handles it with ease. Wheeler fisting it over. Now Talley setting up Anderson. Good effort by Vujocevic, but unable to corral it cleanly on the well-placed attack.
Very well-placed attack. That ball was not going out. That was actually going to land in. So good job by Vujocevic to at least try and get a hand up for it.
Here is Talley. Bombs away once more. Vujocevic has got it. Skripchak for Torres. And Brianna Torres just too strong. She clobbers it through the defensive effort.
It was a great effort getting up the block there, but Torres just being able to manhandle it and get that ball down smacked onto the court.
Yeah, Torres so clever with a variety of different looks, but sometimes she just says, you know what? This is my best versus your best, and my best is better. And now this one paddled down out in front. Williams and Torres were right there on the spot. But I believe there was some contact with the net made. So it's going to go to St. Francis. It will be Bailey Baird in to serve it. Now Williams falling away as she puts it down. Anderson handled by Freeman. Here goes Torres, and this one falls in between the pack of Trojans. So St. Francis, you talk about the momentum. The Trojans had it. St. Francis might have it back on their side after scoring 3 of the first 4.
Trojans looking to side out and get the rotation switched up.
There's another service error, this one from Bailey Baird.
And Ethan, did you know that soccer and volleyball are actually very different sports?
Yeah, absolutely. You're not trying to put it into the net in this game, but St. Francis might be a little disillusioned as to that at the moment.
You took the words right out of my mouth.
Now this one is handled by St. Francis, Anderson in particular, and that was a skilled little push pass. And it's 4-2, St. Francis bouncing back from the miscue.
Anderson doing a great job there. That was one of the best tips I've seen. She waited. Both the blockers had to jump in case she was hitting, and she just laid it in right behind them, just out of reach.
Just a really clever read from the team's leading killer. It'll be Kaylee Sipple who leads the team in assists, that left-handed serve. Skripczak with Vujocevic coming on strong and forcing it through the block. A clutch score for Trinity to keep them close. Now Jalen Freeman set to serve it. A rare moment of relative quiet leading up to this play. Anderson handles it with that palms up style. She's very comfortable with that, and so is Taylor Connolly, battering that one into the vacated earth. It's 5-2 St. Francis, or 5-3 rather.
She was able to get right above that ball. Great snap of the wrist, right over the defenders. That was a phenomenal hit there by Connolly.
Here's Anderson. She strides and slams it over. Here's Romero drifting. That would have hit the back corner if not for the effort by Sipple. And a tough angle there for Oliveira, and she's unable to quite get it back over the twine.
Oliveira has been one of the standout players for St. Francis so far in this game. She has 4 kills. He had 4 kills in that first set, and a rare service or a rare hitting error there by her.
She's been carrying a big load. So many attacks for this team. And now this one catching Nadia Wheeler off guard. So St. Francis maintaining a slight advantage as Stephanie Woods checks in for the Fighting Saints. And Wheeler will check out. It is Halsey Keltner, the transfer and first-year Trojan, getting her first action for TIU. Vujocevic has got it. Skripczak setting up Vujocevic on the give and go. Now Anderson and Freeman unable to quite scoop it off the ground. Boy, that one had some mustard on it from Desiree Anderson.
St. Francis is finding something that's working for them. This back row hit is really hard to defend, and the Trojans have struggled so far in the second set.
Skripczak for Romero, and the freshman checks into the score sheet. Boy, Teresa Romero, she's always got so much energy. She just pointed at her teammates. She's all business tonight.
What an opportunity to start as a freshman in a playoff game on a high-caliber program such as Trinity.
Absolutely, and she's earned it. She's been great all season long. Oliveira, and now lofted back over by Connolly. Here comes Torres. That's just too much time and space for one of the great ones in Trojan history. Brianna Torres making her presence felt in this one.
That one just sucked the air right out of the St. Francis team.
Now here's Woods, quick hitter, and boy, I'm not sure Stephanie Woods caught that one squarely, but it actually had a tricky spin on it, maybe working to her benefit.
The miss hit actually stems from the set just not being where she thought it was going to be. It was just a little too far to the right, and she has to reach for it and makes weird contact.
All's well that ends well, I guess, for the Fighting Saints at least. Now here's Torres, Oliveira, and Stephanie Woods with her second straight kill. She's fired up, and St. Francis has a 3-point lead.
Stephanie Woods has got a lot of ability to get up in the air as Trinity calls that timeout. Down 3. Stephanie Woods, like I was saying, just has a huge vertical, able to really get above the blockers. And the Trojans was really struggling in that back row defense. A lot of hard hit balls are coming their way and just not quite able to get underneath it.
Yeah, you've got Coach Luke Ward passionately addressing his team right now. And no doubt there's a couple of adjustments he wants them to make. Defending that backline strike is going to be pivotal for these Trojans. If they're to stem the tide and do what they did in set number 1, come from behind to claim the victory. Well, both teams back out on the floor very quickly. The Trojans not wasting much time in that timeout. A few words from Ward, and they are good to go. Now Vujocevic handles this. Skripczak back to Vujocevic from deep, and it's on the line. Perfectly placed from Vujocevic.
Wow. Great call there by the line judges. That one cannot get much closer, but both line judges on the same page.
And what a sensational play by Lana, turning a relatively toothless attack into a score for Trinity. Now Desiree Passono checking back in. She served well earlier in this one. One of the great Trojan servers. She raises the right hand and fires. Now there goes Oliveira, and it's somehow blocked all the way back over by Vujocevic. But the presence of mind there, I believe that was Anderson, just shoving it into the corner where no Trojans were.
The Trojans are just not able to get a stop on any of these big hits. St. Francis kind of picking them apart, and the Trojans are managing to stay in it on some, but it's going to have to be an adjustment that needs to be made, and quickly.
Absolutely. Here's Leah Talley. Skims over the net, and here's Vujocevic from deep. Took a little bounce off the top of the net, and now some good fortune going the Trojans' way.
What a skip off the net. That one bounced solely off the net and then spun right down onto the ground.
It's a little change up from Lana Vujocevic. Now here's Emma Gallegos in to serve, and that one's on the back line. Wow! Perfectly placed from Emma Gallegos. That was a sensational bit of work from the service specialist. We'll see what she can do for an encore. Now she lobs it in. Anderson able to handle it, but nothing on the attack due to the solid serve. Here's Torres, fires away, it's down, we're tied.
Wow, both teams playing well. I want to shout out the St. Francis setter there, Hannah Pacheco. She had a beautiful set there to even keep that play alive, but the Trojans just not slowing down. And Torres with another cannon.
Now this one put just over the blockers. We've seen that a couple of times from Anderson. A very clever player as she records another crafty kill for St. Francis. Well, here is Bailey Baird, the sister of Peyton Baird. Younger sister, she blasts this one out of play. And so we've seen a couple of miscues from that young freshman. Just a tough atmosphere here in the postseason. The pressure affecting even the grizzled vets here. There goes Anderson queuing up another howitzer out in front as Gallegos could not quite handle it. So St. Francis pulling ahead once more, and again a nip and tuck set between these two conference juggernauts. Here's Kaylee Sipple. And Freeman, a rare mishandle. Jalen Freeman, a tremendous libero, the two-time, twice named this year, the CCAC Defender of the Week and the team's leader in kills. Very rare to see her have an unprovoked, unforced error like that. Here's Skripchak, up for Vujocevic, and great hands by Gallegos to keep it alive, but unable to salvage that one. So St. Francis now getting momentum back on their side. Checking in for the Trojans, you've got another of their great freshmen and one of the futures of the program, Isabella Acosta. She'll get her first action today. Acosta the setter for the moment as Vujocevic puts that one right down in the back corner, order restored. The Trojans lean on their veteran.
Acosta, a freshman coming in as the setter for the Trojans. She's a player with a lot of talent at with such an experience.
Yeah,
it will be exciting to see her the next few years.
Yeah, very versatile, and these Trojans, despite losing some of their great players, they've got a lot to look forward to. Good dig by Monfrey here. Now this one's stuffed out in front. Romero and Vujocevic were on the case, and now a violation called. The Trojans will score it.
A double's called there on the libero for St. Francis, number 16, Hannah Monfrey.
Now here's her opposite number, Jalen Freeman. Firing it right at Monfrey. Anderson trying that little pop over the top, and it will be successful as Romero is unable to handle it cleanly. Here's Anderson, one of the stars of this St. Francis squad. Laser beam over the middle, handled by Torres. Acosta setting up Torres. Monfrey handles that. Here's Oliveira. Good work by Torres. Now here's Vujocevic right on the line.
Whoa! What a laser by Lana Vujocevic. She picks up her 4th kill of this match.
Lana Vujocevic, as we said, she's reinvented herself, and she is playing some of the best volleyball of her career at the most pivotal time. Here's Anna Skripczak. She goes with the lob. Now this one paddled over the Trojan front and falling harmlessly on the hardwood. St. Francis by 2. It is Monfrey. Freeman's got it. And now a hard shot by Vujocevic. Nice effort by Torres. Is it going to drift too far? It will, into the net, as Skripczak had to pull up for fear of careening into the twine. And it's 17-14 Fighting Saints.
Trojans just making little mistakes here and there.
This one lobbed over, Vujocevic finding a way to keep it up, but the diving Romero unable to get the second hit. Time out by the Trojans. The momentum belonging entirely to the Fighting Saints here. Both these squads have been really impressive tonight, and it's a game of shrieks and runs. And St. Francis catching lightning in a bottle here recently to be able to pull away for the 4-point lead.
Trojans not playing terrible volleyball, but they just need to figure out a few of these kinks on defense. St. Francis is able to pick them apart, whether it be hard hits, switching it up with these tips. The Trojans just need to be a little bit more proactive, moving towards that ball. One of these things is it's with some of the tips that are coming from St. Francis, it's very obvious it's going to be a tip. So the Trojans just need to trust themselves, trust their abilities. They've gotten to this point not because of luck, but because they are a good program that has the skills to be here.
Absolutely, and they are happy to be here, but this is not the end of their mission. The last time this team won the conference tournament was all the way back in 2004. So there's some unfinished business for this Trojan squad. They've got a great chance to make history. They come into this ball game red hot. They've won their last 4, including beating the top-seeded St. Xavier right here, or rather on the road in Chicago, Illinois, in the last game of the regular season. So miscommunication here from TIU, both Skripczak and Freeman lunging for it, and St. Francis' lead has ballooned to a high water mark of 5.
St. Francis just really doing a great job of utilizing all their skills.
Torres has that, but it's batted down out in front, coming right to the Fighting Saints. And St. Francis really taking control now. The Trojans are out of timeouts. What can they do to conjure up a rally? The Trojan players chanting on the bench, and this one's pinpointed by Hannah Monfrey. She sensed the dead zone in the middle of the floor and exploited it.
Monfrey doing a great job of just putting that ball in so many hard-to-reach places for the Trojans.
Now here's Monfrey. She hits this one hard now. Side-winding dig by Freeman. Vujocevic, and now a couple of players reaching for it. Some miscommunication now on the rival side, and Trinity is on the board for the first time in a long time. We'll see what they can do. Vujocevic, their top server, firing it away. It's coming to Romero, and she blasts it down out in front. maybe that'll get the freshman going here.
Exactly what you need to do there in that position. Romero placing it perfectly.
After a little delay, a ball rolling onto the floor. Some nice soccer skills from the linesman there, but this one's blasted away as we resume play. Stephanie Woods is turned aside out in front, and now this one just wide of the line on the return to sender. And the Trojans have cut it to a 4-point deficit. Vujocevic ready to rock once more. Lana rises and fires. Here's Oliveira from a sharp angle. Quickly in sync, Romero from Anna Skripchak.
Teresa Romero coming alive in the second set. She picks up 2 quick kills. The Trojans cut it to 3, and St. Francis will call a timeout as the Trojans have cut it down to just a small lead of 3 points. But Ethan, the Trojans are fighting back.
Absolutely, and it is great to see a player like Romero starting to find her rhythm. You see some of these veterans and a lot of energy in the huddle now. They are starting to feel themselves. This is such a resilient team. Sometimes all they need is a couple things to go their way, and they get right back on the horse in the blink of an eye. The Trojans well and truly have their backs to the wall, but they are not done fighting. 21-18, St. Francis leading in set number 2. The Trojans victorious in set number 1, looking to come from behind to go up 2-0. Here's Vujocevic. Blasts it down the middle, diving effort by Anderson. Here's Oliveira, handled by Vujocevic. Quickly, in sync to Romero again. Can the Fighting Saints keep it alive? They do, but it's slammed down by Romero!
What a play!
Oh my goodness, Romero thought she had the finish, but now she reaps the rewards of her effort regardless.
I want to apologize to the audience if we are getting lauded to certain points, but that was an incredible awareness and hit by Teresa Romero, the freshman.
Yeah, please take the headphones out. We're very excited today. It's a great atmosphere out here. Let everybody in your house hear what's going on. Here's Torres putting it back over quickly, and now Vujocevic has it. Here's Torres firing away. Once again, Brianna Torres brings the crowd to her feet.
What a play. The Trojans are clawing their way back, left and right.
It is 6 straight scores for TIU.
If we allowed, move your mic a little bit from your face that we're not paying.
Now this one's set up for Oliveira. She's blocked out in front. Long range effort from Connolly, rejected.
Oh!
Romero and Torres have got
You
it.
are kidding me!
Oh my goodness, another timeout called. We are all knotted up, 7 in a row for the Trojans. I can't believe what I'm watching.
Set 2 is coming to be known as the Teresa Romero Show. She gets the block. She gets the kill. She gets the tip that leads to a kill. She gets another tip that leads to a kill. Teresa Romero is popping off late in the second set.
She is doing it all, and we saw her struggle a little early on, but she is finding her rhythm in a big way right about now. Romero, the true freshman, not afraid of the bright lights.
Tie game. Timeout called by St. Francis just to quiet and slow down some of this momentum. We'll see what the Trojans can do coming out of it.
And this is where you really see the home court advantage for TIU. So much excitement and energy around this arena. 21-21. Here's Lana Vujocevic. She is still serving for the Trojans. Down the middle, Anderson handles it quickly to Woods. Good hands by Freeman. Shoveled back on over by Keltner. Now this one lobbed up. Freeman's got it. Skripchak setting up Torres just beyond the line. And this place was about to explode, but that one was probably 2 or 3 inches behind the green line.
You are right about the crowd ready to explode there. Everyone would have lost their minds. But now the Trojans are on the...
Here's Vujocevic. She's got it. Strip shot. Torres with some touch. Perfectly placed by Brianna Torres, pumping life back into the building.
Torres terminating that serving run.
So here comes Pusa Ono, Trojan service specialist, one of their graduating seniors, in a big spot, 22 apiece. She blasts it away. Anderson has it. Here's Oliviera. Vujocevic got a piece, but could not corral it. So
Great hit.
St. Francis pulling ahead.
Great awareness there by Oliviera, hitting it right down the line. That ball was not able to be gotten on by any stretch of the means.
Now here is Leitali. Vujocevic, strip shot. Vujocevic once again. And this one can't be handled cleanly, well placed, and Pacheco unable to return it. It is 23-23, and here comes the dangerous Emma Gallegos.
You got to remember, this game was once at 15-21. Now we're tied at 33 apiece. The Trojans are playing well.
Can they finish the job? Gallegos laying out but can't quite get there. So through the adversity, St. Francis still gives themselves an opportunity at set point. It'll be Stephanie Woods to take it. The crowd is in full throat as Woods lofts it over the middle. Strip shot. Back set to Vujocevic. Vujocevic finding the dead zone once again. And we are all tied up. Even the Trojan mascot now sprinting down the sideline. My goodness, everybody getting involved here.
What a miscommunication there by St. Francis to set the Trojans up with this opportunity.
And now checking back in, it will be Isabella Acosta as Skripchak heads to the bench. Trusting the freshman setter in a huge spot is Coach Ward. Here goes Torres with the players in the crowd chanting her name. Miscommunication. Leitali finds a way to get it back over. Gallegos has the dig and now mishandled by Acosta. A double touch called on the freshman, so Coach Ward turning to the first-year player, and she makes the blunder here. That gives St. Francis set point.
She will stay in, though. The confidence that Coach Ward and the rest of her team has in her is immense right now.
Absolutely, and she's proven it all season long. She's a great player. Trying to set up Vujocevic. She responded nicely there, but it's blocked. Another set to Vujocevic. They managed to keep it alive. Anderson, Freeman, diving, somehow fisted over by Acosta. My goodness. Still we play on. Torres blasting away. Monfrey kneeling for it. Here comes Anderson, handled by Gallegos. In front! Acosta! Wow!
I'm dead.
Oh.
I'm literally just dead. There's no way she just hit that ball one-handed with a sidearm hit coming from behind.
Isabella Acosta has got ice in her veins, bouncing back in short order. Now this one put over by Freeman. Blasted down, and it's out! It is out! The Trojans have the lead!
This game has got the crowd on their feet. It has got me jumping up and down, happier than a kindergartner seeing Mickey Mouse for the first time.
I guess that is quite the sensation, isn't it? Now can the Trojans finish it off? Monfrey's got it. This one blasted by Connolly. Oh, and it was rejected by the Trojans, but just wide. We're all tied up again at 26. Oh, boy. It just felt like it was going to go beyond regulation again, didn't it?
26 apiece. We're in the same spot we were first set.
Anderson over the middle. Acosta setting up Vujocevic. Blocked, back to the Trojans. Freeman now setting up Lana. Blocked back down, and the wall holds firm. Taylor Connolly blocking it down for the Fighting Saints. It's set point for St. Francis. The team's leading killer, Anderson, fires it over. Skimming the top of the net. Here's Romero, handled by Monfrey. Oliveira. Torres has got it. Acosta setting up Lana Vujocevic.
Yes!
And it's going to be finished off, as Monfrey could not quite handle it cleanly. So we are tied up now at 27 apiece. This is unfathomable action. Now one of the Trojan students running with the Trojan flag. That's Lance Powell. Hey, a true Trinity super fan. He's just sprinting around with the flag. What an atmosphere. And now this one is overcooked. But there's a violation. Outer rotation is going to be called on St. Francis. And so Skripchak made the service error, but it goes over. But St. Francis out of rotation. What a gift for the Trojans.
You can't. Wow, what a costly mistake made by St. Francis late in the game. Don't know what happened there.
I mean, I'm almost left speechless by that moment. And that's not a good quality when you're a commentator, right? That is crazy.
Never seen that happen late in this game.
Well, here's Skripchak with another chance. She lobs it over. Set point for Trinity. Can they finish it? Skripchak has the dig. Freeman for Torres from long range. Oliveira lunging for it. Now this one battered down. Skripchak has it, but it flies over the Trojan bench and into the seats. 28 apiece. This is just unbelievable action right now.
Could not ask for a better game.
This may have topped the first set even. Here's Skripchak for Romero, right on the back line.
Romero!
Right on the back line, the freshman answers once again.
Both these teams not wanting their playoff run to end. Both teams fighting tooth and nail for the win.
Here is Vujocevic, the Trojans' leader in service aces, trying to finish it off. Oh, and that's right in there! Oh, it's been pointed! Oh my goodness! Another service ace from Vujocevic.
No way! This run ends on a service ace!
Oh my goodness, well she's done it all year for these Trojans, so it should come as no surprise, but I am still shocked at that finish. What a thrilling set, 30-28, the Trojans come out on top.
Ladies and gentlemen, I don't care if you're a St. Francis fan, and I apologize for our bit of biasness, I will apologize for that, and I don't care if you're a Trojan fan. This is a game of some of the best volleyball, of back and forth volleyball that I have seen in my life. This is what a game, what a performance by both these teams, and the Trojans able to edge it out to now having a 2-0 lead in sets.
Absolutely.
And I'm going to go get some water.
Darn right. I'm not sure that I'm going to have much of a voice left tomorrow, but this is worth it for this thrilling afternoon, or rather evening, of volleyball here. Obviously, as Seth touched on, we do call it in a slightly partisan manner here on the Trojan Sports Network, but you've got to give so much credit to both of these teams tonight. The Trojans have made some great adjustments. They've been gritty. They've found a way, but the St. Francis team has given them all they can handle, and then some at times. Both of these sets going beyond regulation length, but Trinity somehow finding a way to emerge victorious in both. There were some questions about this St. Francis team. While the Trojans came in red hot, winning their last 4, St. Francis had lost each of their last 2 matches and had been defeated in 7 of their last 9. So there were a lot of question marks as to whether or not this team would be firing on all cylinders for the playoffs, but they have been outstanding tonight. Both these teams have been terrific, and it has been an absolute thriller, an instant classic here in Van Dix Horn Arena tonight. This Trojan team is going to have a lot of great times to look forward to. We've already seen the gumption, the moxie, and the clutch of some of their young freshmen like Acosta and Teresa Romero. But these Trojans are going to be losing some terrific players as well, such as Brianna Torres and Anna Skripchak. And those are a couple players that deserve some special recognition. Skripchak this season going above 3,000 assists for her career, while Torres topped 2,000 kills. A couple of all-time greats in Trojan uniform tonight, and we are watching them continue to cement their legacy on this evening in Van Dixhorn Arena. But while some of these Trojan stars like Torres, Freeman, Skripchak are cementing their legacy, we are seeing a couple of stars being born on this evening. Teresa Romero and Isabella Acosta stepping up when their teams needed them most.
Isabella Acosta, just what an immense amount of pressure coming in down a point and being able to pull off that. She made the mistake on the set and able to climb her way back. Right after that, she has one of the best hits I've ever seen from a hit setter. Phenomenal work by her.
Incredibly impressive from some of the youngsters. And there goes Gabriela Oliveira as she will batter that one down to get St. Francis the early lead in set number 3.
She picks up
they've been feeding her all night long. Freeman's got it. Skripchak for Romero. And one more time, we've seen this movie before. That's Teresa Romero introducing herself.
She picks up her 6th kill of the night. 4 of those coming in the last 10 points of that second set to really get the Trojans a way back into this. She has come alive in this game.
This one lofted over by Freeman. Now a long range set to Anderson. Blocked down by the Trojans, but back to St. Francis. Skripchak setting up Keltner, who rips that one a little bit wide. So Luke Ward showing his confidence in a variety of different players, now turning to his first-year Trojan, Halsey Keltner. But she's unable to convert on that occasion. Here's Woods. And now this one careening out of play. So just like in set 2, St. Francis starting out strong.
And just like set 1 and in set 2, it is a 3-1 start for St. Francis. Lots of patterns.
Absolutely, but as long as the rest of the pattern holds, we'll be just fine. Stephanie Woods coming up short here. We had seen St. Francis at least temporarily exercise their demons in terms of those service errors, but now it rears its ugly head once again, and the Trojans have got it. Emma Gallegos, ever dangerous in the service game. Blasts this one down for Monfrey. St. Francis working it back over, but not with any degree of potency. Now tomahawking it down was Williams. Back to Torres. Torres with some loft. Scrappy play at the net. Vujocevic, too much power for Leah Talley to handle.
Vujocevic picks up her 14th kill. She's the kill leader for the Trojans. Second is Brianna Torres with 9, and then followed by Teresa Romero with 6. Vujocevic is having an amazing playoff performance.
This one now is not going to clear the Trojan resistance, and Trinity has the lead, 4-3. But yeah, what a night from Vujocevic. This is truly a chance to show what she's made of under the bright lights. She's been outstanding the second half of this season. Monfrey keeping this alive after it caromed out to the Trojans. Here's Skripchak for Madison Williams. USF with scrappy play to survive it. Here comes Torres with a running start. And oh boy, when Torres has that type of a head of steam, you can pretty much put it on the scoreboard.
Yeah. Want to give a shout out though to St. Francis. They have played such a great game, and it's really hard in some of these where you're up big, you're up by 5 or 6 points at one point, you're winning on a match point and not being able to come away with the win is so frustrating, and I can't imagine the difficulty these players are the difficulty and pain these players are going through. You see mistakes like that are just so hard. It's so hard to keep that mentality in volleyball, and we'll see if St. Francis can bounce back from that deficit.
Yeah, they've done a great job. They're very resilient. Can the Trojans finally break their spirit and finish this one off? This one coming out in front to Williams, and she calmly puts it away. Time out, St. Francis. The Trojans have a 7-3 lead.
So far in set 3, Trojans lead 2-0, up 7-3. They're starting to find their rhythm, it feels like, a little bit. They've subbed out Isabella Acosta for Anna Skripchak a few times, which has worked for them. Halsey Keltner has entered the game. It seems like they're figuring out what is working for them in this game, and they're executing very well at the moment.
Yeah, Coach Ward tinkering with a lot of different combinations, but he is able to do that because of the trust he has up and down this roster.
Yeah, and that trust is based in skill. The Trojans, under the recruiting of Coach Ward and Coach Kennedy, have put together some great teams over the years, and this is one of the best that they've had.
Yeah, we've seen times this season, even when one of the Trojan stars like Vujosevic or Nadia Wheeler is a little bit out of sync, and they have so many options that if it's just not a player's night, they can plug in there and expect quality play as well. Now this one blasted for Freeman. She's able to keep it alive, and now it's scooped over by Skripchak. A little bit of loft here by Peyton Baird, but the Trojans fend it off. Tally for Anderson. And it's wide of the line, and Trinity out in front, 8-3. TIU, after fighting tooth and nail for those first 2 sets, they smell blood in the water right now. Here's Gallegos cracking it down, but a little too far. So a rare service miscue by Trinity will provide a brief respite to their onslaught, as it will be Kaylee Sipple. Left-handed shot put serve. Torres trying to lob it over the blockers, but the second effort gets there. Monfrey just shovels it on over. Here's Torres blasting away. Comes back to the Trojan side off the nice dig by Talley, but now they get clever with it and finish it off.
Anna Skripchak, once again, the set over the net catches everyone on St. Francis unaware?
So tricky is Skripchak, just 5'5". You wouldn't expect her to be able to notch some of these clutch kills, but she just finds a way. Very deceptive. And this one finding its way down as well off the serve. Trinity out in front, 10-4.
Trojans managing to pull ahead a little bit with some great serving by these players.
Well, the score right now sounding like something you'd hear over a police radio, I suppose, and maybe that's because the Trojans' run of play here has been criminal. Now this one lofted over, miscommunication, but they survive it. Williams tapping it down into the dead zone, 11-4, TIU.
TIU managing to find some of these open spots on the court, making use of these soft hits that are so hard to combat when you have such power hitters as Torres and Vujosevic.
Well, there goes Torres. This one popped over the net, but I believe it was touched, and it's 12-4 in favor of Trinity. The first 2 sets were thrilling, but the Trojans now are trying to run away with this one. Here's Torres dribbling the ball, now gallivanting up and firing. Anderson puts it right on the line. Brilliant placement from the St. Francis leading killer, Desiree Anderson.
Great spot there on that back line, just out of reach of the Trojans. No chance of getting there.
Well, we talked about these Trojan veterans finding a way to stay composed. The youngsters, too. There's the talented junior Anderson finding a way to restore order here despite the chaos. This one back to the Trojans. Here's Vujocevic firing away. Gallegos has got it. Vujocevic, another effort. Nice dig by Sipple. Oliveira punching it over the net. Williams out in front, blocked back down. Skripchak keeping it alive. Here's Vujocevic. Oliveira finding a way to keep it up. Now Anderson into the dead zone. And Desiree Anderson finishing it off and calmly urging her team on.
Great roll shot there, drops right in front of all the Trinity defenders. Exactly what you're looking for on that hit.
Here comes Anderson. Handled by Lana Vujocevic. Give and go to Vujocevic. Diving effort by Monfrey to keep it up. Here's Oliveira. That long right arm able to get there in time. Torres with a head of steam. Blocked down in front. A great bit of work by Cadence Wodrich, the 5'10 freshman. Very talented player. We haven't called her name a ton, but she answers the call right there.
And you see Skripchak and Torres there just laughing that one a little bit. Skripchak just setting that ball a little too far in front, and Torres not able to get there. A really long reach, which is what led to the error.
Very rare to see those two out of sync one bit. They think with one accord, and now this one blasted into the wall, but unable to be corralled by St. Francis. So the Trojans staying calm and continuing to extend now a 6-point advantage.
One of the great things, the luxury that Coach Ward has is if Anna Skripchak begins to struggle a little bit or she gets a little tired, being able to pull Isabella Acosta right in and just see such success from that position is so neat.
Now this one battered down by Taylor Connolly. A very nice strike from number 10 in yellow. So the Trojans playing perhaps their best volleyball of the night, but St. Francis is not letting them get away. Torres. There is Acosta, freshly into the contest. Torres, lunging effort from Anderson. Now here's Oliveira. Freeman setting up Torres, shoving it forward. Quickly in sync to Stephanie Woods on the great feed. Timeout by Trinity now. And just when it seemed like the Trojans were going to run away with it, give credit to this scrappy St. Francis squad. They've reduced it to just a 4-point lead.
Both these teams all night. Sorry about that, dealing with a little bit of a technical difficulty up here. As I was saying, both these teams battling back and forth, neither one of these teams accepting defeat. No matter how many points you're down, it's always possible to come back, as we saw in that second set.
Absolutely. This St. Francis team battling as well as the Trojans for that CCAC crown. And they can see the end of their season approaching very rapidly upon them, and they do not want it to be done. They know the only way they can prolong their run in this tournament is to claim 3 straight sets off the Trojans, and they are not going to go down without a fight. Here's Monfrey. Torres handles it. Acosta with a cross-court set to Vujocevic. Blocked down in front, Stephanie Woods, the leading blocker, 108 on the season. She's got another one here.
Stephanie Woods picks up her second block of the night. And that is what needs to happen for St. Francis to claw their way back, is good plays like that.
Zinger over the net. Now Romero will have a go. Good instincts from the freshman. But here's Oliveira, skilled dig by Torres. Romero now will set up Vujocevic, who somehow manages to pull up short of the net. Long range fire from Anderson, and she does get it through the freshman pair of Acosta and Romero.
A rare blocking error there by Romero, not able to properly place her hands above the net there for the block. It's a 2-point game, Ethan.
Absolutely. After that early surge, the Trojans have been reeled in by the visitors. Here comes Romero now, drifting out wide and finding a way to finish it. The freshman stays red hot as those "she's a freshman" chants taking to the Van Dixhorn air. Here's Skripchak. She goes with the high arcing lob, but it comes up a little bit short.
St. Francis will have their setter, number 14, Hannah Pacheco, come in. She's got one of the nastiest floaters that I've seen. It moves so much. The Trojans able to control it there, and a great hit over the middle by their Teresa Romero to finish that one up real quick.
Who else? Romero has been absolutely stellar in the last couple sets. She started out a little tentative, struggled a little bit. Boy, she has found her rhythm and is having a blast under the bright lights tonight.
She picked up her 9th kill over two sets.
This one handled by Oliveira. And Oliveira now finishes it off, and she's fired up, giving St. Francis life. Oliveira has been key. The 6'1" outside hitter, a junior for St. Francis. She's been terrific. Here is Leah Talley. Now Romero punching it forward. Battling about the net, and this one blocked on the effort by Vujosevic. Stephanie Woods is right there again, using every inch of that 5'10" frame to block it down. It just didn't seem right that this set number 3 could be a blowout, did it?
It did not.
Here's Torres firing away. Back to the Trojans. Freeman, strip shot. Romero right on the line. Double digits for Teresa Romero in her postseason debut. 10 kills for the freshman.
If you would have told me that in this third set, Teresa Romero, would have one less kill than Brianna Torres, I would not have believed you. She is having an incredible performance.
That's how it is with these Trojans. They get it done by any means necessary. Now this one clobbered down by Williams. Here's Torres, and looking to even the score, and there is that finish for Torres. Or rather, she pulls 2 kills ahead of Romero. A little bit of friendly competition, I suppose.
I think she heard me.
Not sure if Torres needs any more motivation to pick up kills, but she is absolutely on a roll tonight, as are several of her teammates. Here's Freeman. Torres bombs away. Great dig by Talley. Sharp angle shot from Anderson. Sidewinding dig from Torres. Here comes Halsey Keltner. And now miscommunication as it comes back. The St. Francis side showing their excitement. They've reduced the Trojan lead to 2.
That's one where one of the players on the Trojans needs to step up. That's not Anna Skripchak's ball. Anna Skripchak takes that second one. So you need to see Halsey Keltner or one of the other players around taking that one.
Yep, a tricky one there, falling in the Bermuda Triangle, so to speak. And now this one skillfully shoved over by Alana Vujosevic.
So while the friendly competition between Torres and Romero is going on, Vujosevic is out here at 16 kills, cruising with one of the best postseason performances of her career.
Lana has been in a league of her own tonight. Gallegos with something extra on that serve. Long-range effort handled easily by Freeman. Skripchak for Torres, blasting it through the St. Francis wall, and Trinity out in front by 4. Coach Courier vehemently urging her squad onward, but this Trojan onslaught continues. Sliding effort by Monfrey. Across for Anderson. Pancake
what a
dig
pancake
by Freeman. The Trojans survive it. Now here is Anderson, blocked down by Trinity. They lead by 5.
Anderson with the hitting error there, but what an effort by Jalen Freeman, and that right there is exactly why she is one of the top defensive players in the NCCAA. She is phenomenal at getting those. She is a monster out on the court.
Talley's got this one. Now Anderson, and right on the line, sliced across brilliantly by Desiree Anderson. She's been able to stem the tide a couple of times for St. Francis tonight. A big part of why they're still in it here in set number 3. Here goes Kaylee Sipple. The lefty strikes it over the middle. Torres with some loft. Nice recovery by Anderson. Connolly has to dump it on down. Skripchak setting up Williams, drifting sideways, but a good block out in front. St. Francis holding firm there.
St. Francis doing a great job of tracking with Williams there, making sure they lined up just perfectly to block that one.
Here's Sipple. Down the middle once more. Skripchak and Vujocevic. Now here comes Connolly. She's been a nice third option for St. Francis tonight. This one battered down from long range by Vujocevic, but handled by Monfrey. Now sliced by Anderson. Gallegos with a great effort, and Torres almost found a way to get it over. A rare mistake from Vujocevic, and sensational efforts from Gallegos and Torres almost redeemed the miscue. (20-18), still Trinity out in front. Can they put it away against this resilient St. Francis squad? Blasted by Torres. Skripchak setting up Torres again. She goes with a changeup this time. Anderson now. Nice dig by Gallegos, but coming back toward the Fighting Saints. They hit it off the net, back to themselves. Now Torres queuing up a monstrous shot. Vujocevic now will have a go. Furious action out here on the court as still we play on. This one back toward the middle but never cleared the net. So Skripchak was leaping for the block, but it never quite cleared. So St. Francis has reduced it to a 1-point Trojan lead.
Both these teams have battled all series. Set one. Both teams back and forth, point by point. We had it tied up in 26. The Trojans are able to take home the victory. Set number two. Trojans down by 5 at one point. Teresa Romero, Isabella Acosta, along with the rest of this Trojan squad, managed to claw their way back and win 28-26 or 29-27. I don't know which of the two. And now as we go into this third set, Trinity's up by 1, 20-19. Would love to close this out. Meanwhile, you have St. Francis with that 5th seed not wanting this playoff run to end. So they are fighting tooth and nail. Everything they've got is coming out right now. They do not want to leave anything out on the court. We'll see if the Trojans can come away with the victory.
Yeah, you've got to, obviously the Trojans have been the story for the most part tonight, up 2-0. But you've got to give so much credit to the St. Francis squad. They are unbelievably resilient. They just will not go away. And for a very young roster here, no matter what happens tonight, there are plenty of good times ahead for this St. Francis team. This Trojan versus St. Francis rivalry is going nowhere in the coming years, and we've got another brilliant episode in this conflict here tonight. Freeman's got it. Skripchak setting up Vujocevic with the long-range shot. Dumped over for Freeman. Quickly over to Williams. Good effort by him on free, but it finds its way down. Madison Williams finishing it off for TIU.
Madison Williams, not a name we've called a lot since that first set where she was so dominant. But coming alive here, putting in point for the Trojans and giving them putting themselves in the driver's seat.
Here goes Torres. Firing away is Connolly. Diving effort by Gallegos. The Trojans will get back over and down. Oh my goodness. Boy, that looked like the Trojans were not going to get any manner of a potent attack, and they find a way to score it, turning the tide and turning the tables on St. Francis.
I don't know what it is today, but my calls have just driven the players to perform well. I call Madison Williams out there, and she's like, I'm not doing enough. Well, here you go.
Well, we normally talk about the commentator's curse, but what about a commentator's blessing, Seth? I'm all for it.
It's this new wave Gen Z is bringing about. The commentator's blessing. Here it comes.
Absolutely, and we will continue to try to infuse positive energy into these Trojans. Not that they need it. They've been terrific all night long. Brianna Torres will continue to serve. The Trojans 3 points away from advancing to the conference semifinals. Torres blasts this one. Back set for Anderson. Couple of Trojans trying to handle it. Vujocevic puts it back over. There goes Connolly, and it's down in front of a diving Emma Gallegos. A well-read play by Taylor Connolly. She's been impressive behind the top two killers, Anderson and Oliveira. Speaking of, here is this Siri Anderson. Skripchak setting up Vujocevic, just wide of the mark. It really is a game of inches sometimes. That did not miss by much.
Both these teams out of timeouts. So this game is not going to end until one of these teams walks off the court.
Now this one drifting wide, and again in a big spot. A service error from St. Francis. Now the Trojans just 2 scores away.
The amount of service errors that have come late in these sets, I've never seen anything like it, and St. Francis has got to be kicking themselves. It's so hard when you're having to beat yourselves and the other team.
Well, now returning the favor here is Desiree Pasano. We've seen her be terrific in the service game all evening and all season, but coming up a little bit short there. Here is Hannah Monfrey. Acosta setting up Romero, but she's turned aside. Stephanie Woods once again.
I'm speechless. Teresa Romero managing to find every angle, managing to squeeze that ball in between every block, managing to hit every ball over the net.
Yeah, scratch that. I thought that one had been stopped out in front.
So did I.
But not the case. Romero finding a way to get it through. Now Skripchak with the laser beam. The Trojans trying to finish it off. Here's Woods. Great effort by Skripchak. Now Torres to try and finish it. St. Francis fighting to try to stay alive. Freeman has it out in front for Woods, who calmly puts it down. Stephanie Woods with some ice in her veins, managing to keep the Fighting Saints alive. Now it's up to Hannah Pacheco to serve it. A lot of pressure on her. Another service error could end it. Freeman, Skripchak. There goes Romero, handled by Monfrey. Oliveira. Good work by Keltner. Torres, a great effort. Now this one slammed down in front by the freshman Romero again. Here's Vujocevic. Anderson. Not a great strike there by Oliveira. Here comes Torres. We are still going. St. Francis does not want to go away. Freeman for Keltner. And it's through! It's over! Oh! It's all over. The Trojans storming the court. Oh my gosh. Halsey Keltner stepping up. She hadn't done much for the Trojans all afternoon, but she's called on in the biggest moment and batters it through the block. The Trojans have won.
What an effort by this Trojan team.
That was just an unbelievable match from start to finish. Tremendous atmosphere. Every one of these sets incredibly close. It will go down as a straight sets victory, but this St. Francis team showed a lot of heart, and they were terrific tonight as well.
Trojans with this win will go on to face St. Xavier, who they beat last week, and that will be the matchup of the century as both those teams from Chicago face off.
Absolutely. Another great and storied rivalry there coming up. St. Xavier and the Trojans split their 2 matches this season. The rubber match will decide who gets to fight for a CCAC title.
But looking at this match a little closer, Lana Vujocevic having 16 kills, followed by Torres with 13, Teresa Romero with 10, Madison Williams with 6, Anna Skripchak has 2 kills. Halsey Keltner with that last one will pick up her first.
Absolutely. Some Trojan legends cemented their legacy tonight, and some stars have emerged right before our very eyes. A terrific contest. St. Francis very resilient. They were outstanding, but ultimately the Trojans were just too much. They win and advance to the semifinals in straight sets. So what a night this has been from Van Dixhorn. So for myself, for Seth Rieske,